Good morning, guys. My name is Richard Warrington. This is Mr. Guns Firearms. Bad_shooters is the channel, and today is my NFA update. So they're still rolling out the changes. They did another one yesterday. Actually, these are being put up for review, right? So these are up on the National Register. You can go in there and you can give your comments, tell them what you think about the changes and if you like them or not, which we highly recommend you do because, I mean, I guess there has some value there, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. But the latest change is the moving NFA items from state to state. So previously what you had to do is you had to fill out a form. You had to go and you had to download a form and you had to fill it out. And you had to manually stick it in the mail, send it to the ATF, and ask them for permission to move an NFA item from one state to another. In other words, if you had a suppressor, you would put this, the suppressor information on the paperwork, the machine gun information, the AOW, the short-barreled shotgun, et cetera, put that information on the form and wait for the ATF to give you a response. Now, the irony of this is that it's a government agency, and if you go and you submit paperwork to the government, you can only imagine where that ends up. And it's not an easy process. And here you are with an NFA item that can get you 10 years in prison. So you want to do the right thing, right? So basically, and I've heard stories about this. The most notable story I've heard about moving NFA items across state lines is from a gentleman who worked for the three-letter agency that we're talking about, who had multiple items in his possession, in his collection, and he was moving from state to state. And you kind of give yourself a timeline, like you close in your house and you get yourself another house. I mean, it's kind of like you can't just wait forever, right? So he sent in the paperwork, put all the items in there, did it absolutely flawlessly the way you're supposed to, submitted the paperwork, and time. It's getting closer. He's got to go. So basically what he did was he never got a response and he just went. So are they going to come looking for them? Are they going to go to, said place where they were? Are they going to go to said place where they were supposed to be? Who knows? Like, I've never heard any stories like that from the NFA, from the ATF pursuing people for NFA items like that. But, I would imagine that if you were caught going from one place to another and you had some NFA items in your possession and they decided to call the ATF, you would probably have to have some paperwork to substantiate that, yes, you were indeed granted permission to do that. Now, they have parameters now. What they've established is that if you're going to be there less than 365 days, that you can take the item without notifying them and then take it back to where it's supposed to be, where they know it is. The other one is long-term, longer than 365 days. You can notify them and take it to the new location and you're okay. So a lot of people this doesn't affect. You got your gun, you're going to another state, you're moving, you're traveling, you got your EDC, I'm going on vacation, what have you. But other people who do have NFA items, who have accumulated a number of NFA items. I have a lot of customers who have a lot of NFA items. I've got one guy who's got 150 stamps, and then I've got another guy who's got 500 stamps. So these circumstances can dictate as to how you're going to behave with regards to moving out of a blue state to a red state. You can't liquidate all this stuff. The one guy with 500 stamps gave away, before he left, $100,000 worth of ammunition. And that's for another video. We haven't really discussed ammunition at this point, but we'll get to it. But these are the kind of things you got to think about if you've got a lot of guns and you're moving from A to B. You bought a new house, you're moving to another state, you sold your business, you're retiring. What are you going to do with all this stuff, right? You got to let somebody know, you got to let the right person know, you've got a bunch of NFA stuff, yada, yada, yada. So we're getting these in step by step, these new rules. I think for most people, they want the big one. They want the big ones, deregulate suppressors. I want to go into a gun store. That's the suppressor I want. I don't have any fingerprints or a photograph. Here's my ID. If I can walk out with a gun, I should be able to walk out with a suppressor that fits that gun. That's a big one. Are they going to do that? I don't know. More changes coming down the pipe. We're happy to see it, especially as far as NFA stuff goes. Again, as a dealer, we don't want to see machine guns deregulated. We don't want to see destructive devices deregulated. We still want to be able to keep, an eye on all that stuff. And, if the government's got to know some stuff, I'm happy with that. So as a dealer, I applaud all these changes. My local contact just met with the new director of the ATF the other day, and he said it went really well. So them giving us anything, what are you going to do, man? Be happy, applaud it, take advantage of it. We've all been waiting so long, my entire life. All this stuff has been regulated, and they're starting to deregulate it and make it easier for us to have it. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking in. This is my update, my NFA stuff. We're going to do some shooting the other day. We tried to go with the Chris yesterday, but the plans fell through. I had some VIPs come in and want to look at some guns. And anyhow, we'll get out to the range, and we're going to continue to add content. Please keep coming back. Thank you for all the comments. I try to answer all of them. And thank you for the shares to your friends, and the follows and the likes and the subscriptions. Bad_shooters. We've got Mr. Guns AZ, and we've got Mr. Guns CC on Instagram. Look us up. Lots of great content. My new digital person has been putting up great guns. There's a gun of the day featured. You want to check it out? This is what we got in the shop. So we'll see you next time.